Imagine the world plunging into chaos. Cities above ground, ablaze, crumbling under the relentless assault of an unseen enemy. Now, imagine a sanctuary. Not a bunker, not a cellar, but an entire city carved out of the earth itself. A subterranean labyrinth stretching for miles, where thousands sought refuge from the terror raining down from the skies. This isn't science fiction. This is Ramsgate, Kent, 1940. When the bombs fell, 300,000 tons of chalk were excavated to create Britain's largest civilian wartime shelter network, a colossal undertaking that transformed old railway tunnels into a sprawling underground metropolis. A place where fear was replaced by a fragile sense of community, where the roar of war was muffled by tons of rock, and where life, against all odds, continued. Today, the world remembers the heroism of those who fought on the surface, but beneath our feet lies another story, equally vital, equally harrowing: the untold resilience of those who simply tried to survive. What compelled a nation to dig so deep? How did an entire town vanish underground? And what echoes of their experience can still be heard in these silent, hallowed chambers? Prepare to descend into a forgotten world, a testament to human ingenuity and the indomitable will to live. Ramsgate, a charming seaside town renowned for its golden sands and bustling harbor, was an unlikely front line in the Second World War. Its strategic position on the Kent coast, jutting out into the English Channel, made it an immediate and brutal target. On the very first day of the Battle of Britain, August 12, 1940, Ramsgate endured one of the heaviest air raids of the war. Homes were obliterated, lives were lost, and a horrifying truth became clear: the existing surface shelters were woefully inadequate. The town's population of over 30,000, swollen by evacuees, faced an existential threat. Panic began to ripple through the streets. Where could they go? How could they protect their families? Traditional bomb shelters offered only limited protection, and their construction was slow, expensive, and visible. It was in this crucible of fear and desperation that a daring, almost unthinkable idea began to take shape, born from a unique geological feature: chalk. Ramsgate sat atop a vast, stable chalk bed, riddled with disused Victorian railway tunnels, remnants of a failed underground network. The chief engineer of the Ramsgate Corporation, R.D. Brimmel, proposed an audacious plan: connect and expand these disused tunnels, transforming them into a colossal, bomb-proof refuge. This wasn't merely about shelter, it was about survival on an unprecedented scale, a desperate gamble to preserve an entire community. The vision was grand, but the execution was grueling. This was not a task for machines alone, it was a testament to human endurance. In just 9 months, from 1939 to 1940, an army of miners, navvies, and local volunteers toiled tirelessly, day and night, in cramped, dusty, and often perilous conditions. They worked by the flickering light of carbide lamps, their picks biting into the chalk, expanding existing railway tunnels and carving entirely new sections. The primary challenge was not just digging, but doing so without disrupting the town above, which was simultaneously under siege. Imagine the cacophony below ground: the constant thud of picks, the scraping of shovels, the rumbling of hand-pushed wagons laden with excavated chalk, all while the distant thud of bombs vibrated through the very earth they were carving. Over 300,000 tons of chalk were removed, a colossal feat achieved predominantly through manual labor. The existing Victorian railway tunnels provided a crucial starting point, forming the spine of the new network. From this central artery, a spiderweb of new passages branched out, designed to connect directly to the main shelters, and eventually to provide safe entry and exit points across the town. This was more than mere digging. It was an engineering marvel born of necessity, transforming a subterranean dream into a concrete, or rather chalk, reality, a testament to the urgency and scale of the looming catastrophe. As the war raged above, a new way of life began to coalesce in the chalky depths of Ramsgate. The tunnels were not merely a temporary bolt hole. For thousands, they became home. They were transformed into a subterranean city, meticulously planned to house an entire community for extended periods. The main passages were lined with hundreds, then thousands of double-decker bunk beds, each one a small personal sanctuary in a shared, sprawling dormitory. Families, strangers, and friends were assigned beds, creating a unique social fabric. These weren't luxury accommodations, they were stark, functional spaces designed for survival. Yet within these Spartan confines, people strove to inject a semblance of normalcy. Makeshift curtains offered a sliver of privacy. Small personal mementos, photographs, and cherished trinkets adorned the bunk posts, attempts to personalize an impersonal space. The sounds of life, once muffled by bombs, now filled the tunnels. The gentle murmur of conversations, the creak of bunk beds, the rustle of turning pages, the soft cries of babies, and the occasional burst of laughter. People learned to adapt, to share, to live cheek by jowl with thousands of others, finding comfort in numbers and solidarity in shared hardship. This was underground living, an experience few could ever truly comprehend, a testament to humanity's incredible capacity to adapt and make a home even in the most extraordinary circumstances, transforming mere shelter into a fragile, breathing community. The claustrophobia, the dampness, the constant presence of thousands of others, these were the physical realities of tunnel life. But against this backdrop, an extraordinary sense of community blossomed. People were forced together, stripped of their usual routines and comforts, forging bonds that transcended social divides. The tunnels became a melting pot of shared experience. Impromptu concerts would break out, with residents singing popular wartime songs, their voices echoing through the chalk passages. Children, often oblivious to the true danger above, found ingenious ways to play, their laughter echoing through the vastness. Adults organized study groups, knitted for soldiers, and shared stories, creating a vibrant, if unconventional, social scene. This was resilience personified. Far from succumbing to despair, the residents of the underground city cultivated a spirit of mutual support. Food was shared, news from above was whispered and discussed, and a collective determination to make do became the guiding principle. Doctors and nurses, some living permanently in the tunnels, provided essential medical care. Teachers, evacuated with their pupils, set up makeshift classrooms. Life underground wasn't just endured, it was actively lived. A testament to the human spirit's capacity to find light even in the darkest of places, building a society not on the surface, but in the very heart of the earth, proving that community can thrive anywhere, even in the shadow of war. Sustaining a population of thousands deep underground for weeks and months on end was a monumental logistical challenge. This wasn't just about providing shelter, it was about creating a fully functional, self-sufficient ecosystem. Water, the most fundamental necessity, was piped directly into the tunnels, with numerous communal taps providing for drinking, washing, and cooking. Sanitation was ingeniously managed, with latrines that were regularly serviced, and basic washing facilities were established, though personal hygiene remained a constant struggle in the damp, confined environment. Electricity, generated by massive diesel engines above ground, powered the sparse lighting and ventilation systems, ensuring breathable air and a glimmer of illumination in the perpetual gloom. Food was another critical concern. While residents were encouraged to bring their own rations, communal kitchens were established to provide hot meals, often simple but nourishing stews and soups, distributed through a system that relied heavily on volunteers. Medical posts, staffed by doctors and nurses who had relocated underground, handled everything from minor ailments to more serious emergencies, including childbirth. The tunnels even housed a small morgue. This intricate network of essential services, meticulously planned and tirelessly maintained, was the lifeblood of the underground city, a testament to the extraordinary foresight and dedication of those responsible. It transformed a vast hole in the ground into a viable, if rudimentary, urban center, proving that even under the most dire circumstances, human ingenuity can devise the means for collective survival.
Among the thousands seeking refuge beneath Ramsgate were hundreds of children, some mere infants, others navigating their formative years within the perpetual twilight of the tunnels. For them, the tunnels were not just a temporary escape, they became their world. While adults grappled with the grim realities of war, children often adapted with remarkable resilience. They created their own games in the vast passages, their laughter echoing off the chalk walls, momentarily silencing the anxieties of their parents. Makeshift schools were established, with teachers holding lessons by the faint light of electric bulbs, doing their best to provide a semblance of normal education. They learned to identify the sounds of all-clear sirens and the thud of bombs, developing an acute awareness of the world above, even as they lived shielded from it. Many children born in the tunnels knew no other environment for weeks or months. Their early memories were of the damp, cool air, the constant murmur of voices, and the unique camaraderie forged in shared confinement. Yet this unique upbringing came with its own challenges. Long periods without natural light or fresh air could impact development. The lack of open spaces for play and the constant proximity to adults created a unique psychological landscape. But more than anything, these children became symbols of hope, living proof that life, even in the most extreme circumstances, finds a way to blossom, to learn, and to dream, reminding everyone that the future, quite literally, lay in their hands, deep beneath the earth. The very existence of the Ramsgate tunnels underscored a stark, almost surreal dichotomy, life above versus life below. Above ground, the town endured a brutal reality. Ramsgate, often referred to as Hellfire Corner, was repeatedly targeted. Buildings were shattered, infrastructure crippled, and daily life was a terrifying gamble. The constant threat of bombing raids meant that simply walking down a street could be a fatal decision. Yet, just feet beneath this devastation, thousands found a precarious peace. The tunnels offered a psychological as much as a physical shield. The thick chalk muted the roar of explosions to a distant rumble, transforming the immediate terror into a manageable, albeit constant, anxiety. When the all-clear siren finally sounded, signifying a temporary reprieve, the exodus from the tunnels was a ritual of profound significance. Stepping out of the perpetual gloom, blinking in the sudden glorious sunlight, was a powerful moment of re-entry into a world still scarred but momentarily safe. These transitions, from dark to light, from danger to temporary safety, etched themselves deep into the psyche of the residents. The tunnels were not just a shelter, they were a portal, a temporary separation from the brutal realities of war, allowing the community to regroup, to breathe, and to gather the courage to face another day on the surface. This constant oscillation between two vastly different worlds defined their wartime experience, highlighting the fragility of peace and the enduring courage required to navigate an existence forever teetering on the edge. While the tunnels offered a miraculous haven, they could not fully insulate their inhabitants from the broader tragedy of war. Many who sought refuge underground still lost loved ones fighting on distant battlefields or those caught in raids while outside the shelter. The constant threat of aerial attack, though mitigated, still loomed large, shaping every waking moment. The tunnels bear witness not only to survival, but also to the quiet sacrifices and profound courage of ordinary people. They symbolize a community's unwavering resolve to protect its most vulnerable citizens, a collective act of defiance against an existential threat. This vast underground city stands as a monument to those who built it with their hands, those who maintained its complex systems, and above all, to the thousands who called it home. Their stories, often unsung, are embedded in the very chalk walls. The tunnels echo with the memories of shared fear and newfound hope, of separation and reunion, of the enduring power of the human spirit to create life and meaning in the shadow of destruction. It is a legacy of sacrifice, not just of life, but of normalcy, comfort, and peace, reminding us that even in the greatest darkness, humanity's will to protect, to endure, and to hope can carve out a sanctuary, even if it means burying oneself deep within the earth. When the war finally ended and the skies above Ramsgate fell silent,
The tunnels, having served their extraordinary purpose, faced an uncertain future. For decades, they slipped into obscurity, some sections sealed, others left to the slow reclamation of time and nature. The memory of the underground city began to fade, a relic of a past too painful for some to recall. Yet the sheer scale and historical significance of the tunnels were too profound to be entirely forgotten. In the early 2000s, a dedicated group of local enthusiasts, historians, and volunteers spearheaded a remarkable initiative to rediscover, restore, and reopen the Ramsgate tunnels to the public. It was a Herculean task. Sections had collapsed, utilities had failed, and decades of neglect had taken their toll. The project required meticulous archaeological work, structural engineering, and careful historical reconstruction to ensure both safety and authenticity. Every piece of debris cleared, every brick repaired, every light fixture installed was an act of reverence, a commitment to preserving a vital piece of British wartime history. This wasn't just about creating a tourist attraction. It was about safeguarding a tangible link to the past, ensuring that the stories of resilience, community, and survival would continue to be told, not from dusty textbooks, but from within the very heart of the underground city that once saved a town. The tunnels were being reborn, ready to whisper their tales once more.
Today, the Ramsgate tunnels stand not as a forgotten relic, but as a living museum, a profound educational experience that transports visitors directly into the heart of wartime Britain. Guided tours lead curious minds through the same labyrinthine passages where thousands once sought sanctuary. As visitors walk past the meticulously recreated dormitories, the communal washrooms, and the stark medical posts, a tangible connection to the past is forged. The cool, damp air, the echoing footsteps, and the dim atmospheric lighting evoke a powerful sense of empathy, allowing individuals to imagine, however faintly, what life was truly like in this subterranean world. Tour guides, passionate and knowledgeable, bring the stories to life, sharing anecdotes of resilience, hardship, and the extraordinary human spirit that thrived underground. They point out the personal touches left by residents, a faded chalk drawing, a small inscription, transforming the vast, impersonal space into a mosaic of individual human experiences. For many, it's a humbling journey, a stark reminder of the sacrifices made and the challenges overcome. It's an opportunity to connect with history on a deeply personal level, to walk in the footsteps of those who found hope in the darkness, and to understand the profound impact of war not just on battlefields, but on the very fabric of civilian life. The tunnels are no longer just a shelter. They are a classroom, a memorial, and a testament to the enduring power of human memory and shared heritage.
The Ramsgate tunnels are more than just a network of chalk passages. They are a timeless testament to human resilience, ingenuity, and the enduring power of community in the face of unimaginable adversity. They remind us that even when the world above crumbles, the spirit of humanity can carve out hope from the deepest despair. For those who lived within these walls, it was a chapter of their lives defined by fear, but also by an unbreakable bond of shared experience. For us, today, these tunnels serve as a powerful historical anchor, a tangible link to a pivotal moment in our past, urging us to remember the lessons of conflict and the paramount importance of peace. As we emerge from the cool embrace of the earth and step back into the vibrant light of the modern world, the echoes of their stories linger. The laughter of children, the whispers of shared worries, the quiet determination to survive, they are all woven into the very fabric of these underground halls. The Ramsgate tunnels stand as a silent guardian of memory, a profound reminder that even in the darkest hours, humanity's greatest strength lies not just in fighting, but in enduring, in sheltering, and in ultimately rebuilding. A city born of war, now a monument to peace, whispering tales from the deep, deep heart of England.